As the Ukraine war grinds on with no end in sight, NATO is scrambling to devise a contingency plan should the US, Kyiv's biggest donor, drastically cut military aid under a potential future Trump administration. The urgency is palpable, with Ukraine already pleading for more weapons and ammunition as Russia's assaults continue unabated. Here's a report.
Ukraine can stop Putin if we stand with Ukraine and provide the weapons that it needs to defend itself.
Crooked Joe Biden talked about Ukraine before he talked about America.
We are now discussing ways to institutionalize more of the support within a NATO framework.
The US shying away from giving aid to Ukraine. Not a far-fetched prospect if Donald Trump returns to the White House. Anticipating such an eventuality, NATO is working to establish a $100 billion five-year war fund to maintain a steady flow of arms to Ukraine. This multi-billion-dollar fund is also part of a larger strategy to incentivize NATO's 32 members to double down on military support for Ukraine in case the US fails to keep its promises to Kyiv.
What is obvious is that we need new and more money for Ukraine, and we need it over many years. And the whole idea of now discussing frameworks, commitments, an institutionalized framework for the support.
We need long-term sustainable commitments for aiding Ukraine, but also towards paving the pathway to NATO and EU memberships.
NATO foreign ministers are in Brussels over the next 2 days to discuss the war in Ukraine. The NATO chief has urged the US Congress to overcome its differences and allow roughly $60 billion in military aid for Ukraine, saying the continued delay is impacting the battlefield. Kyiv says Ukraine's partners are not providing enough air defense against Russian missile attacks, even though they have over 100 Patriot systems in their own arsenals. But what none of them is saying openly is the fear of change of guard in the Oval Office that could drastically alter the present security matrix for NATO.
But I think the Europeans need to take into account the fact that the US, no matter whether Trump is re-elected or not, are probably more focused on the Indo-Pacific, on the Chinese threat, and that Europe is becoming more and more of a secondary theater from a US perspective.
Russia is regaining the initiative on the ground, outmanning and outgunning Ukrainian forces. Kyiv keeps pleading for ammunition. This comes at a time when NATO is marking 75 years of its existence. And the US presidential elections could potentially alter America's role in the alliance. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.